Hello everyone and welcome back to our island. Now stage 2 is coming to an end, so I decided that it's time for us to have another video for you all. Let's start by going through the map. A quick reminder, yellow is sky, orange is KoL, and pink is DMC. And on the other side, in the blue camp, blue is SYZ, turquoise is KTA, and green is TGM. Okay, let's start with the safe clashes, the ones which have major buffs. Of course, they are still the same. We have ours and the enemy camp has theirs. Then we go to the south clash. Things haven't really changed much since you guys last saw it. Just of course, we were able to eliminate all presence of the enemy camp within the south clash. So now it is completely occupied by the red camp. Top clash. Things haven't changed here much at all either. You can still see some DMC presence which wasn't removed because everyone was too busy fighting in the middle clash. But other than that, TGM and SYZ do have most of the top clash for themselves. And of course, the middle clash, surprise, surprise, it is primarily owned by the red camp. We were fairly successful in occupying it and also were successful in removing most of the blue camp presence from the middle clash, so a fairly successful stage for us. You can see a lot of residences occupied by DMC. They were very actively fighting throughout the stage. You can also see that KoL has the Wonder, which was the best strategic move given that DMC already had a lot of residences. They already had the free teleport, so KoL having the Wonder was a nice strategic move. In just about a few hours, we are going to head into the tree zone. You can see all of the enemy camp is also ready to go there. So it's not like they have completely given up hope. They are also planning on joining. And of course, our camp has access from 2 different tunnels to get to the tree zone. So I'm expecting a bunch of fighting is going to happen in the tree zone as well. Next up, I'm sure you're all waiting to see the kill rankings. Let's start by the Alliance kill rankings, and you can see DMC is all the way up there with 31 billion kills. And if you recall, that is a major jump from what you saw last time. So they have been extremely busy. And then following them is KTA from the blue camp. As I mentioned before, KTA is a major force. They fight extremely hard, show up in extremely large numbers, and they have a lot of whales. Next up is KoL with 27 billion kills. They also got a pretty nice amount of fight in the middle clash, and they racked up a ton of kills. Next up is Sky with 21 billion kills. We were also able to pack a punch in the middle clash, and we also got a bunch of kills to show for it. Then there's SYZ with 15 billion kills, and then TGM with 13 billion kills. Most of the kills that TGM has, of course, came from the middle clash because they didn't have too many kills from the north clash. Now, I think the more interesting thing that everyone should see is the Anthill kill rankings. And that is going to surprise you. Even though you know the players that we have here, the numbers might still shock you. DMC's R5 sitting with almost 20 billion kills. Almost 20 billion of the kills that we saw earlier are coming from the R5 of DMC. And honestly, that's not extremely surprising for me because I had heard that the DMC R5 will be sitting and fighting for 16 hours non-stop to make sure that things get done. But that is a huge number. Right? Like, look at how many kills he's gotten so far now, 91 billion. And if the fighting goes on in the tree zone, we might be looking at our first 100 billion kills. And I hope I'm online to record that because that's going to be huge. So outstanding performance by the DMC's R5. It is crazy to look at the numbers, right? Almost 20 billion kills in one island, and it's not even over yet, right? The tree area isn't even unlocked. Next up, Robot with almost 11.5 billion kills in this island so far. If you look at his profile, he's now sitting at 75 billion kills altogether. An absolute beast as well. And you can see, just add those two up, top 2, that's 30 billion kills from 2 players. Crazy, isn't it? Next up, the Wolf of KTA. Not surprised that he's up there as well. Almost 7.5 billion kills from this island so far, and he also recently unlocked 3 T10s, so congratulations to him. He's sitting at about 63.8 billion kills in total. Next is the SYZ's whale, Kabbalah, with almost 5 billion kills in this island and about 37 billion kills altogether. And number 5 is our Yukron with almost 4 billion kills, and in total he's looking at about 14.5 billion kills. And you can remember in the first video I mentioned how, his kills are less for his power. Well, that's a good indication, right? About 4 billion of these 14.5 billion kills came just from this island. Next is MC, another very strong KoL member sitting at about 3.5 billion kills. And next is my friend Ripguts. You can see he also named himself Crazy Ripguts. An inside joke between us because my name is Crazy Rooster in the game. And he's sitting at about 3.3 billion kills as well. And as I mentioned, he's also a very strong player. Next is Silverstone with 3.25 billion kills. Another monster, one of our own, from Sky, and then Killer Ants, another beast of Sky with 3.15 billion kills. And at number 10, we have KTA's R5, which is Polar Bear, almost 3 billion kills. So that's the top 10 kill rankings from our island. You can take a quick look at the others as well. Kevin sitting at number 11 with 2.5 billion, Soul with 2.3 billion, Twilight with 1.9 billion, and I remember I told everyone Twilight is one of the very strong players of our island. She is, it's just that she's not super active. And then there's a bunch of KTA whales that I mentioned before. You can see the number of KTA players in the rankings are pretty high. That's because they have a pretty large pool of strong players. Then there's another TGM, then there's Vlad, and there's some more KTA, TGM, DMC. So that is the kill rankings that might interest you. Let's go to the Alliance Influence rankings, and you can see that our red camp is sitting at the top. Number 1, number 2, and number 3 are our camp. That basically is a given that we were able to successfully get the middle clash, all of the south clash as well, and some of the north clash. KoL with 432,000, Sky with 410,000, DMC with 377,000, and then 4, 5, and 6 at the blue camp. TGM with 353,000 because they do have a lot of the top clash. SYZ with 277,000 and KTA with 267,000. Now let's talk about strategies. First of all, if you go up, you'll notice that DMC has a tower that is under construction and is being destroyed by TGM. So this is something that you should take note of. And now if you go back, you'll notice that DMC is ignoring that and is focusing on a SYZ under construction tower that they have almost successfully broken. And you could see that DMC is getting a bunch of their strong players here. They are destroying the SYZ tower, and they were successfully able to do so, right? So destroying that tower, which was under construction, meant that SYZ could not advance further. Immediately after that, DMC's R5 is back to their tower, which they of course had 17 minutes to protect. And now you'll notice him rallying that tower in order to defend it. And this is actually a very interesting strategy. So what's really going on here is that SYZ did not have the level of whales that DMC did. Essentially, the R5 of DMC is extremely strong compared to other players in our island. So how does this play out? So what DMC's R5 did was that he used the advantage that he has of having a really strong account to target baby towers. Now, baby towers are very difficult to protect in the short run if you aren't much stronger than the opponent. In the long run, you are able to defend it as long as you have enough activity. But in the short run, if there's a very strong account that continues spamming your baby tower, there's little you can do unless you have the firepower to make it work. And that's exactly what we saw DMC do, right? They went there with their strongest players and spammed a few rallies. And that's why SYZ was not able to really hold on for that tower because number one, a big hit from DMC's R5 with 4 units would come in and basically knock all of them out, right? And that's a very good strategy. Why is that so? Because you are wasting 4,000 of the enemy's clear and the battle ends within minutes, right? A baby tower starts at about 5% health, which means that if you are able to overpower it and fill it with your troops, it's going to destroy really fast, giving you enough time to focus on other things after you destroy the tower. The other thing to note, of course, is that you are making the enemy waste clay, and clay is a very valuable resource. If they run out of clay, they will be just sitting there watching you while you continue to attack the other enemy, and they can't really help out. So if you can make the enemy lose all of their clay, they become useless because they can't fight you. And that's exactly the idea that DMC had here. They did not want to fight two enemies at the same time. So what they did was that, you know what, if they create a baby tower, we'll destroy the baby tower. If they create another one, we'll destroy another one, and eventually they'll stop creating those baby towers, realizing that it's not worth it. This was an excellent strategy because then they could focus purely on TGM, and SYZ would need to start looking elsewhere to get some fight in. Now, what if you are in the receiving end of this? What if you have a very strong enemy and you try to create a baby tower and they essentially destroy it within seconds? What can you do to prevent yourself from getting stuck in that situation? And the answer is simple. You need to utilize march times. Create a bunch of towers that are not connecting with the enemy, and then create that new baby tower that connects with the enemy right in the middle of two towers that are owned by you. You are going to have a huge advantage in terms of march times, and that can balance things out because now your march times are very low, but the opponent's march times are much higher. This is the advantage that you need to utilize if you're dealing with a very strong opponent, right? So they have to march for a long time to get there. Sure, they might clear out your towers when they do arrive, but you can instantly get that tower back, and then they'll need to march back and try to get the tower from you again, but that's going to take some time for them to return their troops, perhaps open a rally and then send it back. So that's the strategy that you need to use if you're dealing with a very strong opponent. Don't just put a baby tower in the middle of nowhere where you have extremely long march times and there's a huge giant enemy that can easily destroy it. Make it extremely safe right in the middle of two of your towers where you know that you're going to have extremely low march times and the enemy will have much higher ones. Then using activity, you can somewhat balance the effect of having a very strong opponent that can actually spam your tower. Now, when we talk about reports, I do have one that might interest everyone, and that is from Twilight. One thing I do want to highlight before that is that it was much easier for me to get access to enemy reports as opposed to allied reports. And the simple reason is that for allied reports, I would have to ask them for it. For enemy reports, they just come along in my battle reports tab and I have access to it directly. That being said, let's focus on this one. This is Twilight, the TGM's huge whale. Now, this is a loss report, which means that I can't go into details, but I did want to show everyone that she is using Ata as a row 1, and then you can imagine Emerald Jewel Land and Sahan Silverland. Now here's a victory report. Unfortunately, the reason why I showed the last one before is because the Ata is missing, but fortunately you'll get to see some of her stats in this report. Right, the Ata missing wouldn't have much of an impact on the stats on the shooters because Ata is a guardian end, so the shooter stats would likely remain constant. You can see that we are looking at about 3,393% attack, 3,107% defense, and about 1,300% health. And from the attack, you can see about 450% approximately is coming from island buffs. It's also no surprise that she has a level 99 insect, and fun fact, by the end of the island it had become a level 100, but we'll get to that in the next video. And you can imagine that it is an 8-star Emerald Jewel Ant and 7-star Sahan Silver Ant. Silver Ants are particularly difficult to get, it's not that easy, so we can see why the things that can be bought are already at 8-star, the ones that require a lot of luck are 7-star. And since I still have you here, I do want you to know that you can get between 10 to 35% bonus on in-game purchases in the Ants Underground Kingdom. All you need to do is follow the steps in the video that I'm sharing in the description on how you can avail that bonus. I should also inform you that the Sky6 promo code that you guys might have been using before is now expired. Sky7 promo code is active, so please switch to that promo code so you can continue getting your bonuses. And keep in mind that these promo codes last 2 months and then I'll provide you with a newer one that you can start using. If you have any questions, feel free to join our Discord. I'll be happy to help you there. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.